I did talk with a friend who said that someone they know that they had listened to it or suggested listening to it had mentioned that, especially during the second episode, that they didn't really know us in hearing everything that we were saying, like the thoughts that, like, they felt like they were almost invading our personal space, and to them it almost felt uncomfortable. And so, but it's not like we're imposing it on to people. You can listen to it, or you can't. And so, yeah. But that's a fair criticism. People are going to feel that way, and it's not even necessarily a criticism. It's just it's another preference, right? Yeah. And so, what it comes down to is for us, what kind of audience are we looking for? Or do we want to have the people who are listening in be people that are more open to hearing things, that we really think about, and that kind of can seem invading at times? Or do we want to pull back a little bit on that and try to make it a little bit more manageable for people who don't want that? Or, because I think in my case, after I thought about this for a little bit when he brought it up, I think for me, I was like, well, after all this stuff that's been occurring with, like, myself feeling uncomfortable, and how with that comes strength and stuff, I was like, I think I want to continue how open I've been, mm-hmm. because people need to feel that. Mm-hmm. People need to feel that. And through this avenue, if they do feel uncomfortable hearing what we have to say, then they have a method in which they can listen to something and feel uncomfortable and begin to, maybe open up a little bit more themselves, or think a little bit more about these things that we're talking about too. And I think that that's a positive,
Yeah. And I was talking to my sister about it, and she was like, you probably could have done a little bit better job of explaining to people what you guys' personalities are like. Mm. And
how do you do that? How do you
helped. I have no idea. We'd have to talk to her. She was like, it's branding. I do this. It's and I was like, I don't even know what. I was like, I think I probably did ask her. I was like, what does that even mean?
Right.
Like, I could try to tell you.
To me, I feel like the best way of doing that is doing what we're doing, which is getting people to get to know us through virtue of, like, because I'm trying to think about I'm Zachary Birdsong. I'm a straightforward guy. I will lie to keep the peace, though, sometimes in small social situations, or I'll do a little chuckle when something's not funny. Mm-hmm. But that's what I mean by lie. I'm not going around lying. But I'm a straightforward person. I like deep thoughts. I don't like, little conversational go nowhere type stuff.
Small talk.
Yeah, I forgot the the phrase for it. I think I already said that in episode 2, but that's me.
Yeah.
That's me.
That's it.
That's it. I think that's all that comes with it. Okay. Really. When it comes to me, that's the thing. It's hard. I don't even know what else I like. Music. I don't know. I don't know. I think the best way to see a person for who they are is to experience, which goes into life, which goes into death, which is what today's episode is about. Look at that segue.
That
was beautiful. Do you want to do the intro? Welcome.
Yeah, I think I did last time.
Yeah. Welcome to the A to Z podcast. You're listening to Zachary Taylor Birdsong, and
we don't need to say the middle name. Amber Long.
Patrice. And we are here to talk to you, everyone, today about death. in a very broad, general sense, and so I think one of the things I wanted to talk about first. I looked at your outline too, though, but I wanted to talk about what we think life is, which goes into what I was just saying. But I think it's experience. I think if you had to define it, it would be experience. Because I had this thought like a few years ago. I was like, man, it. And I don't, I feel somewhat bad saying this because I don't want people who have these like afflictions to feel bad. But like if you can't have like touch sensory input, for example, you know, this isn't to say you can't still live like a happy life, like if you're, you know, blind or deaf or something like that too. But that is less of what the typical experience of life, you are experiencing less than the average person in what they experience insofar as life, right?
But you don't know.
You don't, but, and that's the thing, it's like, because on the other end of that spectrum, we're familiar with the standard, you know, 5 senses, but there could be those beyond that. I mean, there's like things that insects and animals can experience that we can't, that we don't have. And so you could say in a sense that they have an added level of experience onto life that we don't have, you know. So yeah, you don't know what you're missing out on ever. You can try to conjure it up in your head, but if you don't have that, then you don't know what it feels like. But it's a different level. If you were to put it in a hierarchy, the more ways you have of experiencing life, the fuller I think you can say that it feels. And like I said, not to say that it means you can't be happy if you have some of those things missing. But at one point I was like, what if, and I looked this up the other day, it doesn't seem like there's been a case like this. I don't even know like what, but I was like, what if someone was born, or not born, but just like even at the time of being, you know, created in the womb, because you can still hear when you're in the womb and stuff. But you know, if you didn't have any of the senses at all, like if your brain doesn't have any input availability for it to process information and things, then at the point in which you are born into the world, you're like, there's not anything for you, like that's a biological life, but that's not like what you think in terms of like a person kind of life. You know what I mean? Because what's your brain going to be thinking if there's nothing that it can use to relate to out in the world, right? It can't have any kind of thought.
Did it say that anybody had that?
No.
It seems impossible.
No. Yeah, I know. But it was like just an interesting thought. But I think that when I looked into it, it said that there's no known case in which that has happened. Because even the sounds and stuff that you hear and whatnot in the womb influence, like, you know, the your self-production and stuff and all those kinds of things. And so if you didn't have any of that, it's just like theoretically you're essentially almost brain dead in a sense, I guess. I mean, that's what it would kind of, that's like the equivalent of what that would kind of be like.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that the parts of your brain that process different sensory information are not all in the same place.
Right, yeah.
So there's a lot going on if you can't take in any information, even if it's just sense of touch.
Yes. So that's why,
or smell.
I think that's why you have to say, it's like you have to put experience in that. Life is experience. Because if you can't have any method of experiencing anything within or around you, then you're in like the philosophical sense of living, you're not living, you know? Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I would say life is experience in a broad sense, in the sense that things are happening.
Right.
And most people, I think, would say that if you were just sitting in a white room all day long, I mean, even then, like, you'd have to still, like, food has to be coming from somewhere. Water has to be coming from somewhere. You're going to the bathroom. So you are doing things.
It's a subdued kind of fashion of life in that circumstance.
Yes. And so there is some just baseline level of, but I think that life is productivity. And I think it's because every cell in your body, in order to exist, is carrying out functions.
Right.
I think, what we classify as life versus non-life has to do with the ability for that organism to like deliberately and also I guess passively do work.
Right.
I think obviously there's like definition of what constitutes life in biology, but I think taking in things and putting things out, I think that is a big part broadly of what it means to be alive. And I think,
right,
every living thing is doing that.
I think, that makes a lot of sense in the biological sense. I like the productivity, but I think that works even with like that philosophical element too, because even if you're experiencing things, if you're going to different countries or you're talking to different people or, performing different acts, if you're not being productive with that experience and taking it with you, then that's like another added element onto the lived experience.
Yeah. And I think that's the baseline when you talk about experience and how critical that is to life. Sometimes I think that people will, and we plan to talk about success at some point.
Success.
I think that some people think that you have to do a certain thing, like let's say you have to start your own business, and that's what it means to live a good life.
Right.
But if you travel, let's say you work at a fast food restaurant, you work there for 40 years. In those 40 years, you've met so many people.
Yeah.
You've seen the company change. You probably know a lot about the industry. Like, you know a lot, And so it's not necessary for you to be living, quote unquote, this like, are you really living, man?
Yeah.
Yes you are.
Yeah.
Yes you are. And you're
in your own sense of what that means.
Yes, and you're learning a lot, and you're taking a lot in, and you're giving a lot of information out, and you're as long as you're having experiences that are meaningful to you,
right,
then that is a life that you probably will say at the end of your life, I really enjoyed my life. I lived well.
Yeah, and sometimes that's just about finding peace too, because you can put all this like onus on yourself over time to be making sure that like I need to be doing this, or I need to be doing this, or else I'm not like doing what I'm supposed to be doing or whatever. But if you find peace in whatever it is that you are able to do, or in the life that you've been building up to the point at which you are now, then you can still say that.
Yeah,
too.
Which is like, what's weird about it is that people don't really start, it seems to me, considering how to achieve like inner peace, and not like in this like fake way,
right?
But real like contentment with life. There are some people who are just naturally like that. You're one of those people that I've met who's naturally contented, like your wife, naturally content.
Yes.
My grandmother, naturally content.
The three of us should get together and throw a party.
And your contentment is not defined necessarily by achievement. Although I know you there's things that you want to achieve.
Right.
But a lot of people don't start to value that until they're older, until they're in their 50s or 60s or late 40s. And I think it's just because of, I don't really know. I don't understand why socially there's this period of your 20s to maybe your early 40s where you have to be really active and like really intentional about like your career and stuff. I guess maybe it's just for like retirement purposes, or
maybe that is a lot of the discussion, is like making sure from an early age you start paying into like a 401k or something like that. And I think that does, because it is important, but that doesn't mean that you need to be finding like the perfect thing, or that you need to start right away. And I think that a lot of that kind of thought too has been what's led to people feeling like that they're not living right, because in doing that you neglect the social element. And I think the social element's probably one, if not the most important element of feeling like you're living a life well lived.
Yeah.
Because it comes back to that thing when people say, when they're on their deathbed, they look back and they wish they had spent more time with people. That's a recurring thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt when I was in college and I was working real hard and I was taking like 18 credit hours. I was volunteering like 12 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
I was working probably about the same amount of time. And I was doing all of this stuff, crazy productive, like very rarely just sitting there doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I like would be happy, maybe. And then I would look over and see like the people who were getting ready to go out on Friday night with all their friends. And I just was like, huh.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was going to make me like happy. And then I just like it did start to slowly click, like none of this is worth it if you have nobody to share it with.
Yeah, right.
But
that typical trope of sitting at a desk by a window and writing things down, and you're like, man, I'm really getting through all this, and then you look out the window and you see everybody outside jumping up, rolling in the grass.
Yeah.
As college kids do.
Just rolling away. Yeah. That's exactly how it went. It was like you're there. Yeah, I think, I don't know. The retirement kind of idea as you're marching towards death is very interesting to me, because once upon a time, everybody's retirement plan was just to have kids.
Yeah, it was.
And your kids would just take care of you in your old age.
And that's still a part of it, but just not as much. Mainly because of the cost of living and stuff.
I was going to say, I think it's just too expensive.
It is, yeah.
For that to be what happens, which is kind of sad. It's not kind of sad. That's very sad that you can't tend that, like the government. I don't even know. I feel like that's a level of like getting into taxes and stuff that I'm not there yet because I'm not even married.
Right.
And I don't have any dependents, but like, I guess I would want to know more about, like, why is it so difficult? Like, is it difficult in a way where then you have to have nursing homes? Like, is this a big scheme?
A lot of it is. A lot. I mean, just with funerals, too. Just with funerals and the cost of those and the embalmment and, like, all that kind of stuff. It's just, it's all kind of, it's not necessary, but people are willing to pay a lot of money.
Yeah, you really don't need a casket,
No, you don't.
And why is it wood?
It doesn't
or like whatever it is, polished. Why is it polished? It's going to the ground.
It doesn't need to be open either. You don't need to do a whole embalmment process and have all the organs taken out. Yeah.
Before you die.
Yeah.
Before they put you in the ground.
And there are different like cultural, things too, where maybe it makes sense to do that to keep the body fresher longer so that you can have it open or something or have them sitting out. But I mean, people can learn to do that themselves some too.
What?
Embalm.
No, that's so weird.
But there are cultures that do that.
No disrespect, no shade if you're into taxidermy or whatever.
There are cultures that do that though, where they sit with the person that died but they don't even do the embalm. They just sit with them and they accept what happened, and then they bury them themselves or something, or they do whatever they need to do. And I think in this book that I was reading, it was talking about how it helped increase the level of happiness for people who were part of that because it made them more aware of death and made them less scared of it because it was a part of their lives.
Yes. I do think that some of this is my unscientific opinion, that some of the need for people to live longer, because I feel like that's just like these days, it's like we don't want to age, we don't want to live longer, or we don't want to die.
Have you seen that one guy who's...
I've heard about him,
yeah. And no shade to him or anything, but it does get to a point to where, like, if 24/7 that's all you're thinking about, then... I mean, and you can say
that's his purpose.
I know. I know. That's what you can say is that if that's what's giving him fulfillment, then more power to him. And if it does result in like things where it's like, oh, maybe we should be doing this, or oh, this really does help people live longer, healthier lives, then that's a benefit too.
For context, I guess you can explain who he is.
I don't remember his name, but he's someone who basically his waking moments and sleeping moments are catered to ensuring that he lives as long of a life as possible, and repeatedly takes tests to make sure that his the body age of just his body in general, and I guess certain organs and stuff are staying young or getting younger. And I think even recently I saw a little clip of him talking about how he had tried this one thing and it actually made it worse, and he was trying to walk that back and stuff, because it's all, a lot of it's experimental. When you don't know, you're testing things out to see what's going to help you the most. But it just, to me, and like I said, it's all personal preference and stuff, but to me, if you're allowing yourself to live longer, but the time that you're using for that is spent towards just that, then what is necessarily the purpose in doing it that way?
Well, the funny thing about trying to live long is that we kind of generally know, across the world, across the board, what helps people live long. Eating
unprocessed foods,
getting the right proteins, but getting healthy fats, good carbs, whatever, fruits and veggies, legumes, all the things.
Mediterranean diet.
The Mediterranean diet is the poster child diet. Staying active.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be influencer level active, because that's actually can be really hard on your body and really bad. Also, you need fat. You need fat on your body.
Yeah, that's important.
It's very good for your health. I'm just going to throw that out there. And then staying in community. And then, keeping everything, if you're going to drink, you're going to smoke, you're going to do whatever, keeping it
to a minimum
in moderation. And most of the time, it's just in a social environment, whatever.
You know what? And that's a good point, too. I'd be interested to see if he goes on a community arc element of seeing how much that reduces his biological age.
Yeah. Because that's a thing. I think as humans, we know what we're supposed to do, and we just don't want to do it. So then we find all these other ways to try to get out what it is that has been true from the very beginning.
Right. And
so I just find that it's just, I don't know, and I don't mean to crap on other people's sense of purpose, but I'm some things are just a waste of time. But like you said, that's what's giving him purpose. Maybe out of the 100 treatments he tries, 2 of them are actually valuable.
Right.
And
other
those
people can use it, and
it
can be beneficial for people as a whole,
Right.
And so, it's not to knock on anyone.
Only slightly.
I'm
going to knock a little bit, because I do think that there's some things that are a waste of time.
Right.
And they're foolish. Sorry. They are. And spending time trying to get the same result from things when you know what you could be doing is just being hard-headed.
Yeah.
And that's, whatever. But
something I was interested in looking into, which I hadn't, but I wish I had, was they talk about, life expectancy is important, and it is. But what I don't usually hear people talk about in relation to that is, our life expectancy has increased, but what about our state of health within that increased, life expectancy? Are people living healthier lives during that time too, or are they just basically bandaged up to continue living lives that aren't bountiful for them because we just have the technology? Because people's health is getting worse.
You think?
I think generally. So I think we have more technology and products that help combat the unhealthy things that we're doing. So maybe it's wrong to say that people's health is getting worse. I think that our way of living around health is getting worse.
Yeah,
but we're just having more ways to combat that scientifically and technologically.
Yeah.
But I think that's a problem, because so maybe it is the case, because like I said, I haven't looked into it, that the state of health that furtherance of time is better too than maybe what it would have been. But I think what's important to remember is that to get too reliant on technology and just like vitamin pills and stuff, instead of getting it from their natural sources, is we don't want to become too reliant on that. We want to be making good choices from the onset and not trying to do things that combat the bad choices we're making.
Yeah, because it's like with the life expectancy thing, why were you dying? Mm-hmm. Why were we dying young?
Yeah, right.
Were we dying young because we were exposed to diseases that we didn't know how to fight? Mm-hmm. Was it like freak accidents? Yes. We were doing hard labor, and so then you were gonna, hard labor, you're gonna be prone to wearing down your body much faster. Mm-hmm. So it's like, just you can alleviate those things and still have people, eating really healthy foods or foods that they grew themselves, and then, I don't know, getting enough sleep, valuing sleep, valuing community, and all of those different, and then valuing physical activity. And by that, I mean, you can just walk.
Yeah, literally. like that's all it takes sometimes. And especially when you're getting into like elderly age, doing small amounts of workouts for your muscle mass, and then walking and eating healthy to stay, lean as well, is probably some of the best things you can do for yourself in terms of health. Because, a lot of people, elderly people these days, they may have like medications on medications. And I don't know if because I know we're all watching like Netflix and stuff now, and they don't have as many commercials and stuff. But if you remember commercials about medications and pills, they have a lot of side effects. One of
them is death.
Yeah.
They'll be like, cause death.
Yeah.
Cause death? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Just like some of...
a chronic condition.
Just like some of the depression pills can cause depression. So you just really got to be mindful about that too. And it's like, okay, what am I really taking? I'm taking this one medication for blood pressure, and I'm taking this other one for something else, but that one has a side effect of raising blood pressure. And so it's like, how are these things stacking on top of each other?
Yeah, I think one, with what you were saying about the exercise, my grandma, like, I don't know if she does it. I think she does it every day. My grandma is 95 years old. She'll be 96 this year.
And she's grandma.
Yes. And she makes it a point to go, I think, up and down the steps once a day. Mm-hmm. And that's her exercise, which for somebody her age is
that's pretty good.
That's good little workout.
It's better than what most that age are doing.
She gets up, she does her chores, which I think I saw this thing a while ago that was like the primary workout for people in like the 1950s was just chores.
Yeah.
It was just kind of, which I feel that, because if you're really cleaning, it's exhausting. So I think it's like definitely while you're young, before you're old, and certainly before you're dead. Just make like, I don't think that choosing, and I'm not saying you have to be like a health nut, because nobody likes that either.
No.
It's also like miserable. But I think just making the choices you can, choose your vices wisely.
Yeah. Conscious decision making.
Yes. And like, and be willing to do that for the things that aren't like super, like, I'm not gonna not eat ice cream.
Yeah.
So just just a loss. I mean, I wouldn't, but custard though, and cheese, I'm not gonna give it up, but I'll give up other things to hopefully, like,
help balance it out,
and I would, I'll accept the consequences, but to be fair, I will eat it in moderation. I will listen to myself, and if it's getting out of control, like physically and I don't feel good, then pull it back.
That's what I did this past week. So yeah, because I drank a lot Friday night for my birthday. I had a hangover Saturday morning, and I was like, I don't feel good. I don't feel good today. So what I did was I ate better on Saturday, and I felt so much better. Because sometimes too, even just like eating, maybe it can be healthy food, but even if you've just eaten a lot, the amount can just make you feel bad.
Yeah, so you gotta let it.
You gotta let
your
things,
body process.
Yes,
give it time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had like sushi, the buffet Saturday night, and I didn't get very many like carbs. It was just the rice from the sushi, and then I had some other meats and stuff, and like that was it. And I felt great for the rest of the evening because I just didn't overload my body with all that stuff. But
and I think life too is just finding a sense of belonging. I think that's a big part of being alive. And I think that what you were saying about death culturally, I mean, that's that sense of belonging is what shapes our attitude about death. I didn't grow. I don't know that I grew up in an environment where like you couldn't, like there was a what am I trying to say, like a shroud around death. Like
just a negative kind of feeling.
Yeah, I think, but also at the same time, like when I was younger and I just would say like wild stuff. And so I would say stuff about like dying or death or I'm gonna kill myself. And so
oh my God.
You know, when you're young though, young teenagers, it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna throw myself off a bridge.
Oh well, yeah, okay.
Like
I see
stuff
what you're saying.
like
Yeah,
that.
just very hyperbolic.
Yeah, being very cavalier about death. And I know that my parents did not care for that language at all. Like I remember there was this one time my uncle was visiting and when I was younger, I was pretty young. I was under the age of 12. I want to say I was under the age of 10. I might have been about 10 though. And I was vaguely aware that the adults in my life didn't like hearing the phrase, I love you to death. But I didn't really understand why, and I wasn't certain.
Yeah.
So I like picked up my dog and I was like, oh, Wilson, I love you to death. And because I was like trying to test their reaction.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, don't say that. Say like, I love you to life. I did it out. And I still don't fully know. But I think it's because, like, I just grew up always being like if somebody was like, oh, this is so terrible, it almost killed me. Like, the people in my life would be like, oh, don't let it kill you. Like, they just didn't believe in speaking death over things. Like, you only speak life. Like, you never be like, I wish you would die already. You would never say that.
Right.
In the environment I grew up in. But then, like, when you watch TV, there are people on TV who openly and regularly joke about, like, oh, I wish my mom was dead.
Yeah.
I wish so-and-so died. I'm going to kill you.
Right.
Da-da-da.
It was very strict in my home, too.
Yeah.
It
could be a Christian thing, I guess.
Maybe. I could not imagine. I never said it growing up. I could not have imagined my parents' reactions if I had ever said something like that.
Yeah, no.
It would have been a huge deal. A huge deal.
Yeah.
Which I think is good for that to be the mindset about it.
Yeah. Because I don't know. I do think for a young person, I wouldn't want them to get... you shouldn't be afraid of death. But it's okay to not be fully desensitized. Because I also don't think that like people should be okay with the idea of like wanting to kill someone.
Yeah, right.
Or something.
Right.
So I think that there's like a healthy, respectful relationship that you can have with the concept of death.
That coincides with like the kind of more so the natural order of it.
Yes.
As opposed to let's make this happen.
The deliberate,
yeah.
forcing of death upon things.
Yes.
Yeah. I think, because I don't think, though, that you should, like, because the, people, whatever,
everybody.
But in Harry Potter,
yeah,
when they talk about the I forget what they're called. It's that.
The Mentors?
No.
Oh.
It's
Dang
like
it. Thought I got it.
The cape, the cloak of invisibility.
Oh, yeah.
And the Sorcerer's Stone, and the Elder Wand. It's like
Holy
there.
Trinity?
You guys will know. Comment.
Horcrux?
No.
Oh.
Comment below of those things. You know what they are. Camilla will know.
Okay.
But God dang it, I'm so irritated that I can't think of the name.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, they're in telling of the story. It's like that. There's these 3 brothers, and one of them, like, they're crossing a bridge or something, and I don't know. They cheat death, whatever happens, and so then the one brother asks Death, like, Death is going to grant them these things. So one person asks for a cloak to be able to, like, put it on so Death can't find them.
Yeah.
Another one asks for the Sorcerer's Stone to bring back his, like, dead loved one from the dead. And then the other one asks for, like, the most powerful wand in the world.
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
And I always just remembered the one who asked for the cloak, and in the movie, and Hermione's like explaining it, and she's like, and then Death searched and searched for him, but he could never find him, and then at the end of his life he took off the cloak and welcomed Death as an old friend. And I'm like, that's how I want to die.
Right.
I want to go gracefully and be like, what's up?
Right. Because it's not going to feel good feeling like you're fighting it when you know it's going to be coming anyway.
Yeah.
I think the youngest or the most prominent death of a person I had experienced was with my grandpa. He was one of the if you were to ask almost everyone who knew him, they would say he was one of the best men you could ever know. And I feel like a lot of people say that, especially about the dead. I mean it. I'll say with absolute certainty, I mean it. Like this, he was a great individual. And I think the part that, everyone wishes that, especially when someone who is that great, who you saw often, we lived on like the same, I would walk down to his house, not even having to go on the road. We lived on the same piece of land. He gave my parents a piece of land, and we put a trailer home, on it, that was right next to his house. And so I would walk down, and he had choices for us. It was either soda of some kind or like a nice can of lemonade. And I don't know why, but for me, it was the lemonade. I was getting the lemonade. My brothers would get the soda every time, but I loved that lemonade. And but he was like a very hard worker too. He had his own little farm going on. He made kombucha. He was very health conscious, very healthy individual. And so he really encompassed and he was a godly man too. And in the sense of like, if you were to sit down and talk with him, you would think, wow, this is what a fine, I'm trying to think of a good word for this. What a fine example of what Christianity is supposed to look like. Really just like all about caring for people and doing well by others and being there for people. Like that was who he was, just as a person. And so a lot of people, and I'll say the same thing, obviously when you're young, you wish you would have had more time with them, because I think I would have really, really enjoyed, because of course at that time I was a kid, so I didn't have a lot of, the same thoughts that I do now, the deep thinking and stuff, and I would have loved to get some of his insight and thoughts on things. And so I think that's kind of the main thing that maybe a lot of people just feel is, the things that you missed out on. But there's also then just the gratefulness too of being able to experience some element in time in your life with that person. And then I think, regardless of your beliefs, an important thing to remember too is whenever you spend time, you take with you a piece of each person that you spend time with throughout your life. And so they are gone in like the sense of, they are no longer here. Mm-hmm. But in terms of all the people they touched and spent time with throughout their lives, they are all in some way taking with them a piece of that person. Mm-hmm. And so when you think of it that way, that just keeps on continuing on, because unless you become a recluse and go live in the woods and you never speak, to anybody, but it continues on. And death too can make us a bit more poignant in our thoughts about how that person had affected us. And I think it can make us feel more emboldened to take with us the positive things that we had received from that person too.
Yeah, I feel like it's, unless you were brainwashed in some way, that's mm-hmm. indicative of like, did the good in them outweigh the bad, or vice mm-hmm. versa if we associate positive things with them so strongly, mm-hmm. That person typically then led a pretty good life. Mm-hmm. I think that's like, there's some people who, feel like karma or hell or whatever is really just a reflection of how people feel about you when you're gone. Mm-hmm. And I think that's like, what would you hope for people to say about you at the end of your life?
Yeah, 100%. Mm-hmm.
That's a question. You can think about it and answer it later.
Oh, you're actually.
Yeah. But I can tell you about death. People that I know. I've had a few people die in my family. Mm-hmm. Like every few years, someone will die. I've had some cousins pass away, and some great aunts and uncles, and my grandfather passed away a few years ago when I was in college. I never, and I'll cry, mm-hmm. But I'm usually not crying about them. I'm usually crying about everybody I knew who was close, much closer to them than I was.
Right.
Because I always kind of feel like it's not my place to cry, mm-hmm. or to take up a lot of space in that grief, mm-hmm. because I wasn't super close to them.
Right.
I think we've had pets that are in my family that have died. And yeah, I think even then I just will be like, maybe I'll shed like a few tears. Mm-hmm. But I think I just feel that death is so, like, death is the only thing that's promised.
Yeah.
To us. And so I don't think it really ever, like, and I love living now, but I'm also like, good for you. Got the heck up out of this crazy place, mm-hmm. this planet. So I don't ever, especially if they were sick, and I'm like,
yeah, right,
you're not suffering anymore, mm-hmm. and I hope that you find a lot of peace and rest.
And that goes back kind of a little bit to the continuance of someone's life and the life expectancy, but like, what is their quality of it? If they're just kind of like, if I'm ever end up, God forbid, being like brain dead or something, I don't want, or if I'm in like a coma for an extended period of time, like, don't, at some point drop the ball on me,
Yeah. I saw your the assisted end of life care in the outline. ethical kind of
questions about that.
About death.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people have, I don't know. I guess I just don't. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Good answer.
That's one of the which is weird because normally I feel like I have an opinion about stuff like that. About like, is it ethical to assist somebody in ending their life if they're suffering? And I don't know. You want to know a really good movie about ethics and the ethics of illness and death? My Sister's Keeper.
Okay.
If you've never seen that movie, that was one of like the top 5 saddest movies I've ever seen in my life. I cried through the entire film.
Wow. Okay.
I was young when I
Right.
was watching it. I was like in middle school, but it was one of the saddest movies I've ever seen. But it is really like, you'll find it interesting.
Okay. On a day I'm ready to cry, I'll watch it. I'll put it on.
Yes, because basically and this isn't giving anything away. There's a daughter and she applies to be emancipated from her parents. And her sister has cancer. And they they would take stuff from the daughter who was who's applying for the emancipation, to use on the daughter who has cancer.
Oh, I see.
And so you're gonna like in court with them and then their family and.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a lot.
It is so sad.
Yeah.
It is so sad. I mean, but that's a good movie to watch to contemplate the ethics of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
So will everyone else.
Everybody watch My Sister's Keeper. It's very sad. I think it's a book too, so I guess you can read it.
If you're a reader.
If you like to read.
Yeah, if you do that.
If you've ever seen a book.
Weirdos.
You may not. But yeah, I don't know. I have a weird relationship with death. Yeah, I guess.
The only other, well, I mean, I've been to a couple of other funerals, but the other one that hit the hardest was a friend in college, because it's unexpected, young. And one of the things that I do regret with him is that, you know, maybe a couple of times the few months before leading up into what had happened, he had mentioned, because he loved music too. I mean, a lot of people do, but he was really, really into it. And, you know, I am as well. But he had mentioned a couple of times, like, us sitting down together and just listening to me, him showing me what he really likes and vice versa, and just like chilling and listening to music. And it's one of those things where like you have the time for it, you know, but you just never get around to it. And so it did not occur before he passed. And that just kind of reminded me that it is important for those you care about and that you're around, to, if you share something with them, to experience that with them and take the time to, because sometimes it really does just feel like you have, or you're going to have, like all the time in the world, especially at around this age.
Yeah.
You don't think about it, but so I guess that's to say, take people up on their offers a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because the time is there.
Yeah.
Because you hear so many people say like, oh, I can't do this, like I don't have the time, or I got to do this, or I got to do that. And it's like, yeah, maybe you do kind of have to do those things, but do you have to do it like right then when the other person's free to? Could you like just take the time to experience that thing with them, especially if you hadn't before, and you won't miss out on that, but you will miss out on not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, that made me think. And when I was younger, I had a friend pass away And it was pretty... I remember it very vividly, like all of it, because it was the grade at the school was very small. It was only 60 people. And we played sports together. We all went to class together and all of those things. And so it was a pretty tight-knit group.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being called to when they said that she had passed away, or she didn't pass away. Like, she was on a machine for a few weeks, and that was really to just give people time to fly in and say goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And my, grade of people spent a lot of time together for like 3 days, for like 3 days intensely, but like a few weeks just processing that experience together. And the funny thing was, like, I don't know why I kept having this thought of like, this thing will like bond all of us together forever. And that is not what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And but also it was like grief, like at that age, watching how people grieve was really interesting. Because it was like, there were some people who like, we would have different events for her, and we could like write letters to her and her family and like make buttons and do all these things. And there were some people who never came.
Yeah.
There were some people who like there were some guys who like used this moment to like comfort the girls they were interested in. And I mean, they're young.
I know.
And there were some people who rationalized it medically, even at that age. They were like, well, technically speaking, she did it. And you're like, dude, what the...
Right.
Like, shut up. Nobody wants to hear that right now. Like, we're all sad. We all want to believe that she has a soul and she's still alive right now. Like, shut up.
Right.
But for them...
And that's their way of coping.
That was their way of dealing with it. And, like, we were young. This like 13, 14-year-old kids.
Yeah.
And... like she was so talented, and she was probably like just like light up a room type of person. And so yeah, I think, I don't know, I think that did something to me, that loss, but I don't, because I think about it.
But you're kind of like unsure as to what exactly, or what do you think?
I just know that it left a mark, and I'm just not really sure what it fully is.
You can just feel something's there.
Yeah, there's a wound there, but also like she had this like sweetest freaking family, man. And I really hope that they're because she passed away. It was either a few days before or a few days after my birthday. So I think I had just seen her mom like posted something the other day. Because it's been some years, but yeah, it's hard. It's weird. The weirdest thing is like when you get that and you're like, bro, I just saw this person.
Yeah.
2 days ago.
Oh yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
And too, when you get, because when I was in college, when it was my friend, I remember it was a phone call, and it wasn't even like a phone call to necessarily say that like it had happened, though. It was like a phone call to say, hey, I heard this happened, but I'm not sure necessarily if it did. And so then you're kind of like, you're kind of in a haze with it a little bit. And then you're thinking, oh, well, there are people I probably need to, call, or I got to like, try to find out who might, know something about it. And so you're calling and you're talking to people, and then you're kind of doing what the person who called you did to you, and they don't know. So you're kind of the one informing them, but you weren't really ready for that. So that, yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I like, I forget, like now I'm remembering, but there's there's been a few people who I was close, like people I'm close to, who I've been with them when they received calls about people that they knew who they were very close to who passed away. And that's always like a hard thing because like what can you even say or do?
Nothing.
There's nothing.
There's literally nothing.
But just hold the space.
Yeah.
And there was also like somebody I knew who like career-wise I'd really looked up to. And I was like, I even texted her like a little bit before she passed away. And she did decide to end her own life. And she was, I texted her. I was like, I want to do exactly what you're doing. Like, I want to do this. And then she passed away. And I don't know fully why. Like, people had written articles, and it was kind of, people speculated on what the reason might have been or whatever. But
writing articles about
this person was a little bit of a prominent figure.
Oh, okay.
And I just happened to have had a series of events that led me to meet her. And she was very nice and very involved in trying to make the world a better place. And that's the hard part about meeting people who devote their lives to try to make the world a better place, is that they put all of this stuff on their back.
Yeah.
And they carry it around in their chest and in their head and in their, like, and then the rest, and then you go and then, and this is really judgmental, but then you go and you just see people who are like, la, 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 la. And they don't care. They don't even do one small thing to make the world like a better place. And there's some people who put their literal lives on the line for the rest of us. And so to see, like, those people deserve a break. They deserve care and tenderness and to be loved.
Yep.
And for people to kind of tag them out so that someone else can step in and take on that role.
Yep.
And that death was one of those things where I like had this kind of mounting feeling. Because I had also in college read a book about Rosa Parks. It was like I can't remember the something life of Rosa Parks. And it just talked about how much she gave. And in her moments of need, people did not show up for her. And so, like, at the end of her life, all these people who, again, didn't show up for her are, like, you know, making a big spectacle over her death. And that's something that has always really bothered me.
Those people showing up at the end to gain.
Yes. Or they show up and they're there. And I've seen this happen twice. They're there for people who have just lost somebody pretty pivotal. Because in high school, I had 2 friends who lost parents. And people who, like, bullied them or always ostracized them or whatever would, like, show up in those moments and then act like, and I'm like, you're making this about you. You're not, and like, I mean, I appreciate, because I think it does something for the person who lost somebody to have people rally around them in that moment. And I think it's really great. But again, the way that people respond to death sometimes is real strange.
Well, and if the parents know or the family knows that those were people who weren't too nice to, you know, whoever it was they lost because maybe they talked about it, then maybe it doesn't feel good.
I don't know.
To see them there specifically.
Yeah, I don't know.
I had after I went to college, there was a person I knew from high school that was in the same class as me that had passed. And it was just an accident, a traffic incident. And I didn't feel, and I probably could have, but I didn't feel comfortable going to the funeral just because, I mean, I remember talking to him senior year or in the summer of senior year too before going off to college. But at that time, I didn't feel, I guess, worthy going, just because I didn't feel like I had kept a level of closeness with him that deserved my presence there. Which I think is kind of the other end of the stick there is I was probably being a bit too hard on myself with that thought.
Yeah. Closing thoughts on death. Given that we will all die one day, what is the part about life that makes you just want to keep living?
Life itself, experience. It's like that movie Soul. That kid, he comes down from the sky, the great sky in the sky, and he comes down and he gets in that man's body.
This is not how that movie went.
Yeah, he gets in this man's body, and he's like, he likes eating pizza. He likes sitting out on the steps outside of a house. He likes getting his hair cut. He likes living life. He likes experience. And he's like, what is my role here? And he found he didn't have a purpose except just to merely exist and affect those around him and love and experience. And so that's what you should do, is go out into the world and don't be afraid. Stop making excuses. Go out, and if you want to do something, don't let anxiety get at you. Don't let it get you down, bring you down. Let it lift you up. Go out, do something, do what you want to do, experience life. Don't be afraid. Live it to the fullest and be who you want to be.
Nailed it. Oh, I'm really enjoying getting to know other people. I have not always been very good at that. Being vulnerable enough to get to know people and let them get to know me. And it is really hard. It feels sometimes like my flesh is on fire. But it's very rewarding. To just not be closed off to what other people have to offer. And that's really, because you think about it, it's like, there's this quote that says, you haven't met everybody that you're gonna love yet.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And so, there's just all this life that you can constantly interact with and get to know. And, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Think back on all the moments that you decided to do something that just by happenstance led to somebody who you know today, who was very important in your life.
Yeah.
And all the other different ways that you could meet someone in that similar fashion just by going out there. Getting out there.
Just out there.
Getting that man's body.
Down from the sky.
From the sky.
Yeah. To this body. Yeah. Yeah. So come down from the sky and get into a body.
Yeah. You can go up to the sky later. Come down from it right now.
Yeah.
Come down from the sky.
Get into that body.
Yeah.
And do it.
And do it. Just do it.
Till you're satisfied. Just kidding. Maybe.
Yeah, some things.
Its satisfaction is death till you're dead. Do it till you're dead.
Yeah. Satisfy yourself till you're dead.
Yeah, so this has been another episode of the A to Z podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Hope it wasn't too heavy. Whatever. We're all gonna die.
Yep. My God.
But
hope it wasn't too heavy, but we're all gonna die.
But not today. Not today. Farewell, everybody.
Farewell. Thank you.